Asus ROG Maximus 11 Gen Review. That means the board only has a pair of RAM slots. But the company also worked with a few memory firms to develop proprietary double capacity, DC, DIMMs, so you can still install up to 64 GB in 2 slots, provided you're willing to track down proprietary memory. That makes the ROG Maximus 11 Gen a great board for a very particular kind of builder looking for a compact, no-compromise PC. Just know that it won't be cheap, as this board currently sells for around $400 in USA, UK gets it for only $300 incorporated VAT. And you may not be able to carry over your double capacity RAM, as it's based on an Asus derived spec that's currently only supported by a few motherboards like this one. The Maximus 11 Gen appears to be a brilliant solution for using Asus's double capacity DRAM spec. But what problem does double capacity DRAM actually solve? Simplifying all this discussion of ranks to the number of chips involved, the same 64-chip limit applies whether they're spread out across 4 16GB DIMMs or 2 32GB DIMMs. That's why Asus limits double capacity DIMM support to 2-slot boards. The only workaround would be an increase in memory IC density to 16 GB per chip. And while Samsung announced that it was producing 32GB dual-rank SO DIMMs using that density last summer, we have yet to learn whether those same chips will even work with Intel's desktop processors, let alone see any of them on a long DIMM. Micro ATX has the same physical DIMM space as ATX, so the 2 DIMM limitation found on the Maximus 11 Gen appears to be a problem of Asus's creation. And what a great problem to have! You see, Asus decided to repurpose the space of 2 DIMMs with its DIMM.2 riser card, and in the process found a handy place to put its other 2 M.2 slots. As a result, we're looking at a micro ATX board that supports 2 M.2 drives directly from the CPU's key interface, in addition to the 2 chips at bast M.2 slots. And a key X4 slot that can easily host an M.2 adapter card. When's the last time you saw an ATX board that could host 5 M.2 drives? When's the last time you saw one that could host 2 full bandwidth drives and at least 2 shared bandwidth drives simultaneously? Gigabyte's full ATX Z390 designator allows its 4-lane slot to be switched to CPU pathways, but then you're knocking the middle slot down to 4 lanes. Most of Asus ROG's ATX boards do this by default. In both cases, you're giving up ATX features anyway just to start off with key 2 M.2 adapter cards. Meanwhile, nearly any motherboard that supports X8/X8 slot mode could potentially support 2 M.2 drives via CPU connections using nothing more than an X8 to 2X M.2 adapter. But then you'd have to buy more parts just to match what's already available in Asus' more compact Maximus 11 Gen. Alternatively, Asus could have just as easily put its M.2 riser card where its key X4 slot currently resides, put its PCH-based M.2 slots below the current board's key X16 slot, and kept the 4 DIMM configuration. Sure, you'd have to remove the graphics card to install or remove the chipset connected drives, and you'd lose the X4 slot in favor of alternative placement for the X8 interface. But from this perspective it's really hard to call Asus's alterations revolutionary. What's really gained here is the ability to use an X4 slot that shares bandwidth with 2 M.2 slots at the same time as a 3-slot graphics card and an X8 to M.2 adapter card. If that sounds appealing to your particular set of PC build needs, then this board clearly should be on your, very, short list. Asus ROG Maximus 11 Gen. Pros. Includes CPU connected dual M.2 adapter card. Supports 2 PCH connected M.2 drives, plus an X4 card. Key X4 slot is open-ended. Downward facing headers for graphics cooler clearance. Supports double capacity DRAM. Cons. Only 2 DIMM slots. Doesn't support dual graphics cards in X8/X8 mode. No legacy SATA M.2 support, despite having only 4 SATA ports. Enabling CPU storage drops key X16 slot to X8 mode. Verdict: if you're looking for a micro ATX motherboard that supports 4 SATA drives, an X4 storage card and a triple slot graphics card simultaneously, you're looking for the ROG Maximus 11 Gen.